Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my channel if you are new here. I am Martina Lily, and today I want to give you guys probably a thing a YouTuber or a beauty YouTuber shouldn't do, which is a review of a really old product, but it's such an expensive product and I feel like it really does get a lot of hype, and I just kind of wanted to throw my 2 cents into the ring for this product in case any of you are interested. So we are going to review the Chanel Sublimage concealer today. I've been testing this all week. I definitely have my thoughts formed on this particular product, and I really want to share it with you guys and tell you like whether or not I actually think it's worth the money. Is like a hard term because really everyone's value of a dollar is different. I kind of like to more say whether or not I regret purchasing it or whether I'd repurchase it. Anyway, hopefully that all sounds interesting to you guys. If it does, go ahead and do the YouTubey things like subscribe, hit that notification bell, and let's get started. You guys are zoomed in nice and close, and I have already applied my foundation, which is the new Sisley Phyto-Teint Perfection foundation. I'm also doing a review on this as well at the same time. You know, we get a batch film around here. That one will already be up on the channel though, so I'll try and remember to link in the description box if you're interested, but if not, that review on that foundation is already up. This is what it's looking like. The Chanel Sublimage concealer. Now, I understand that this is definitely not a new product at all, but it is a very expensive product. It's about 145 Australian dollars, and I think it's about 95 USD. So depending on your currency, it's going to fluctuate around that, you know, so from there. It is 10 grams of product, 0.35 ounces. It has a 12-month expiry and it's made in France, and it's like this beautiful, hefty, glass, luxurious packaging, and it does come with like a little spatula and a little brush, which I have already managed to lose, yes. I did get the shade 10, so this is the shade that I got right here. And it's a lovely shade. It's actually one of the best concealer shades I've ever had, ever, period. It's really quite perfect for my under eyes. There's only 10 shades in this concealer though, and the shade range is pathetic. So Chanel definitely needs to up the shade range on this particular product. And the reason why I picked it up was because, one, a lot of you guys actually had been saying to me that I needed to try this concealer, and also like Khaki Reviews Beauty and Tanya B. Wells and that really seemed to love this particular concealer. And because it was so expensive, I kind of had always held off. Now, I will be completely honest, I did pick this up with gift cards. So I didn't actually physically spend my own money. I had a gift card. However, I chose to spend my precious money on my gift card on this concealer. So I kind of still spent my own money, you know what I mean? And I wanted to do the review as well because when I was looking for reviews, I found it a little bit harder to find concealer reviews, and it could have been just the ones that I watched, so take it with a grain of salt, that showed like where it really showed kind of covering like dark circles and pigmentation. Like I really do have kind of pigmentation around here and dark circles and stuff like that, and I found a lot of the reviews, it was kind of like, you know, people that maybe wanted a lighter coverage or maybe didn't want that full coverage, and I was really intrigued to see how this concealer would like perform to my standards of a concealer and like a full coverage concealer. I also have really dry under eyes. They're like the Sahara Desert of under eyes. They're weird, and they do have texture and all that kind of stuff as well, so that's kind of where I'm coming out with this review. Now, I'm going to use a color corrector because I would always use a color corrector. Color corrector for me has just changed the game for, like with my concealer application. You do not need to use a color corrector if you don't need one, or if you don't want to pick one up. Then I would say the finish and the coverage is still going to be amazing, but it would just be a little bit less perfected, if you will. And not saying that as in like you have to have a color corrector to be perfected, but just more like a little less coverage, I guess, because the color corrector is going to help a little bit. That makes sense, hopefully. In typical me fashion, where I'm just always a little bit extra with things, I actually have been really enjoying the Natasha Denona Hy-Glam color corrector in N1, I think, C1, sorry, with the Rare Beauty Brightener in Light. You don't need to get both of these to work. It's just that this Natasha Denona one is good on its own, but just ever so slightly too deep, I find. And then this Rare Beauty one is got such a good undertone to it for my under eyes, but is just slightly too light to color correct. So I've found actually mixing these together, it really creates such a lovely color corrector shade for me. But that's just like me and my, like I have them and you know, why not mix them together to create like a perfect shade if I have them and they're not quite perfect on their own, but like you don't need to buy both is what I'm saying. So I'm just going to tap that out. Probably should have done one eye and then one eye, shouldn't I? But anyway, here we are. Now I'm going to take some of my concealer right here. So it does usually come with a lid. I scraped all the product off mine and threw it away because it was annoying me. So up to you whether you keep it or not. I'm probably supposed to keep it to stop it from drying out, but here we are. I've just picked up a little bit on a little flat brush. You could honestly just take your finger and apply it or use the spatula it comes with, but you know, this is where we're at with me. And I'm just going to put a little bit here. And I do find less is more with this particular product as well. And this is just my Ray Morris 28 foundation brush, and I'm just going to blend this out. I have found blending this out with a brush is my preferred method just because it just keeps that coverage a little bit more intact. The sponge does take a little bit of the coverage away. I'll just pop that on the lid there. Now, can you see instantly how beautiful that is? Like, beautiful, right? Especially for a concealer that really proclaims it's like for eye care and skincare. It's just absolutely beautiful with such a one little layer. And I've been shockingly surprised by this concealer because I really anticipated to get this and for it to be really not have a lot of coverage at all and be quite hydrating and almost greasy like. And it's really been like, even though my under eyes are dry, I don't want the concealer to be so greasy that it like slips and slides all day because I also have under eye wrinkles, so I kind of need it to like be a little bit sturdy. And it's just been such a pleasant surprise. Like, look at how lovely just one layer of this concealer is on my under eyes. Like, it's done such a nice job of evening out the color and covering the darkness and the pigmentation. Now, I like to do another layer, which I'll show you because I'm picky about it. Like, I do it with every single concealer I own, but I do feel like I can pretty much get away with one layer with this. It's pretty phenomenal. And I did forget to give you guys the claims. So it says it is a radiance revealing skincare concealer. Creamy and lightweight, exceptional hydrating formula, melts onto the skin and instantly illuminates the eyes. It corrects the appearance of dark circles, smooths fine lines without creasing, all the while caring for the delicate eye area. So that is one layer. And I gotta be honest, spoiler alert, I really feel like the claims of this concealer, just lives up. I feel like it really matches exactly the claims. So I'm gonna do a little, I'll do this side first so that you can see the difference. I'm just gonna do another little layer. So that is one layer and, sorry, 2 layers and 1 layer. And you can just see, like, for me with the extra little layer, it just adds that extra oomph of coverage that I'm looking for and really creates that kind of like perfected eye. So I'll just do a torch on this side. And like I said, you really don't need a lot. Like, these are, I'm only picking up the smallest amount of product here. So it's an expensive concealer, but it will last for a really long time. That is 2 layers built up with the concealer. This is what it's looking like. 4K, no filters, nothing. I honestly have been so blown away with this concealer. It just looks so healthy and hydrating without being slippery or greasy. It really does smooth your texture. And like, I mean, it's not going to necessarily smooth fine lines, but it definitely doesn't accentuate them at all. It definitely is a smoothing type concealer, and it has so much more coverage than I ever anticipated this concealer to have. Usually when a concealer has like a heavy skincare focus, I always find that it compromises with the coverage, and I have a really high expectation of like coverage for my particular under eyes. I like my darkness and hyperpigmentation to be as covered as possible, and this just does such a good job. And then once I set it with setting powder, wow, it just adds, it's just perfection. So what I'm going to do is do the speed through now of just me setting my face so that you can see that, and then I am filming another video in this video, so you won't see me doing my eyes and everything, and then we will come back and I will give you guys like my thoughts on how it wore and whether or not I would repurchase it, all that kind of stuff, and who I would recommend it for. So let's do it. Alright friends, finished look. What do you guys think? Okay, this is the concealer all powdered like you guys saw, and those layers that I showed you. So everything else is like what's on my face will be linked down below except for the eyeshadow palette because that's Secret Squirrel for now. This concealer, do I recommend it? What do I think? Yeah, unfortunately, I really do recommend it. I know it's so expensive, but I really do recommend it, especially, like everyone's value of a dollar is different, so take it with a grain of salt, and it's just my 2 little cents, so keep that in mind. But this has impressed me, and I think if you've been around here for a long time, you know it really takes a lot for a concealer to impress me. It really does. I have very high expectations of concealers, but also it takes a lot for a concealer on its own to impress me. A lot of the time I'll get all my concealers and I will find kind of the best formulas through mixing different concealers together, and that creates like this perfect concealer for me. I very much feel like I can just use this concealer on its own and it looks absolutely flawless. It wears stunningly. It just, because my under eyes, I do still need to set my under eyes because even though they're dry, if I don't set them, it also just gets weird under there, you know. But I find because this is a hydrating formula, once I set my eyes, it still keeps my eyes hydrated throughout the day. It doesn't make them look super dry or crepey or anything like that, and it does stay really smooth. It doesn't wear away awkwardly. It doesn't like fade away or anything. It really has a long-lasting coverage to it. And I even said to my husband like a few days throughout this week, like, what do you think? Because he knew I was getting this and knew I was really excited about trying it, and I kind of said to him randomly throughout the week, like, what do you think of my concealer today? And he was like, yeah, it looks awesome. Like, and he's very picky, like he really likes certain kind of products on me, so it also gets his seal of approval. But it really does, it really just makes my under eyes look really healthy and perfected in such a beautiful way. Now, it's not going to make your under eyes look like you've got like under eye filler and like, you know, you've photoshopped them, so keep that in mind. It's still a realistic like your skin kind of under eye, but it really makes them look as perfected as possible and like wears just so exceptionally. Personally, this concealer is right up there with my Urban Decay Quickie Concealer. It's even giving that a run for its money right now. Like, this might be my #1, but stay tuned as I keep testing it out. Like, we'll keep using it, but this concealer has blown my mind, truly. And thank goodness, because it is expensive. But also annoyingly, it's blown my mind so much I now want to try the Sublimage foundation. So let me know in the comments if I really need to try that foundation now too. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. Is this a concealer you have tried? Are you thinking of trying it? Let me know. I would love to hear from you guys. If you made it this far, you know you're an absolute legend. Thank you so, so much. I truly, truly appreciate you. And I hope you have the most amazing day wherever you are in the world, and I will see you next time. Bye.